I'm Emily Mashak, and I am joined here today by Sarita Reddy, the Executive Director of the Greeley Center for Independence, to talk about the annual 2K/5K Walk, Run, or Roll. So thank you for joining me today, Sarita.
Thanks for having me, Emily. Appreciate it so much.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with the Greeley Center for Independence, what is it?
Ooh.
Big question.
Yes, practiced my 30-second spiel here. So Greeley Center for Independence, last year we turned 40. So for over 40 years, we've been supporting people with brain injuries and other significant disabilities to live in the community. So we own and operate a 31-unit apartment complex. All of the apartments are fully accessible, so we rent primarily to people with disabilities. We also have a brain injury program for adult survivors of brain injury, so 18 individual apartments, and we provide 24/7, very comprehensive, very high level of support for this particular population. We're the only ones in northern Colorado, just so you all know. So we field calls from all over the state, but we also field calls from Nebraska and Wyoming and stuff for people who need the services. And in addition to that, we own a physical therapy clinic where we provide just regular physical therapy services. We've recently hired a pelvic floor specialist who also does dry needling, so all kinds of services there. And we have a wellness gym and a warm water pool.
That is fantastic.
Yes, so quite a wide spectrum of services to this area. Yeah,
definitely. I have to ask, I know you mentioned brain injuries specifically. Mm-hmm. Is that what the main focus is, or do you cater to anyone with any kind of disability?
It's really, brain injury is a very significant specialty of ours. It's a very specialized type of programming, a very specialized type of support. And so that is definitely a significant part of what we do. But we also have a lot of clients who have spinal cord injuries and other kinds of disabilities. We tend not to have people with intellectual disabilities. That's a whole other spectrum of disability. And we have services for those folks with other agencies, but that's typically not what we do.
Mm-hmm. How did you personally get involved with the organization?
Oh my goodness! I've been there for about 5.5 years now. They advertised for an executive director. I had been in Colorado for about 3 years and had not yet found my place as far as work goes. And I just saw it online and applied, and I was one of 3 finalists, and they gave me the job. And so I'm really happy to be there. And it's been such an amazing ride with this organization because, as I said, over 40 years. And so it's a vision that was conceived of many decades ago, and we're continuing this kind of legacy of support for people. And the amazing thing about it, the really, truly amazing thing about it, is that there are people with significant disabilities who, if we weren't there to provide the services that we provide, they would be in a nursing home, they'd be in a state hospital, they would not be out in the community, they would not be out there volunteering, working, engaging in lives that they want to engage in.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how the organization helps to enable people with disabilities gain independence? Because you mentioned going out and volunteering and working.
Sure.
What about that?
Sure. So the way we provide services, especially in our brain injury program, because that, again, as I said, is our highest level of support that we provide, we're very person-centered, and that's a term that's very familiar in the disability community. But what that really means is putting the person first and not the disability. So trying to get to know the people we serve as individuals with their own likes, their dislikes, their needs, their wants, their desires, what are their dreams, those kinds of, that's just as important as the physical care that we do, because we do a lot of physical care. We support people who are users of wheelchairs, who might have a lot of mobility challenges, that kind of thing. And all of that is really important. They might have very complex healthcare needs, and that's very important too. But we prioritize just as much, not more, but just as much, their desire to have control over their own lives, to make their own choices, just as you and I would assume we would do in our lives. But a lot of times for people with disabilities, it is assumed that they either cannot make their own choices or perhaps don't even want to make their own choices. So they're not used to being asked, what do you want? And that's what we do. We ask them, what do you want? What would you like to work on? And then we try really hard to get them where they want to go. So it's not about us telling them, here, you can do this. It's about us asking. It's about us learning from them. We really do assume that they are the expert on themselves. And we engage in a lifelong journey of learning with them. So walking by their side.
Really gives them a chance that it seems regular society doesn't always
Doesn't always. Yeah, we're getting better, but we're not there yet.
Working on it, but still have some to do.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to the event. Walk, Run, or Roll will be on September 28th. What is it? Tell me all about it.
So Walk, Run, or Roll, it's a 2K, 5K. So it was conceived of, again, this is such a kind of cool little story. I had two fairly new staff at the time, and I was a brand new executive director. And these two women came to me and said, we should do this, and we should raise awareness because nobody knows what we do. And so we should, and I looked at them, and I was, as I said, very new in my position. And I said, well, sure. We do not have the money to hire a company to run this and all of this. So no, we'll do it. And I was like, okay, as long as you get your jobs done. And you know that this is all volunteer. There's no putting in overtime. There's none of this. You want to do it, have at it, but it has to be on a volunteer basis. And that's how it started. So it started really small, and we did it all in-house. And we literally, I don't even remember how we timed that first 2K, 5K, whether someone was standing there with a stopwatch or what. I have no idea. But over time, it's gotten, gradually a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more organized and streamlined. And this year, we're really excited. We're partnering with Athlinks, and they have a lot of experience running events like this. So they will be doing our race registration, our packet pickup, our timing, and all of that stuff. So it promises to be very smooth kind of thing. The other thing that's been really cool is that the running community out here in Weld County and in Northern Colorado generally has kind of gotten to know about it. So this year we had runners calling and saying, well, when is it? I want to get it on my calendar. So that's kind of cool. It's very family friendly. We encourage people to bring their kids. We encourage them to bring their dogs as long as they're on leash. They can't be off leash, but bring your dogs and run with your dogs. And then all our residents. You can sponsor a resident for $25. Right? And so then our residents come out and they participate as well. And so some of them can only do the 2K, so they'll do the 2K. Others want to do the 5K, so they will. We have some residents who have family members that travel from Boulder or Denver or whatever just to come and participate in the event with them. We have one woman who lives in our campus for people with brain injuries. Her son comes and pushes her. So they do it together. It's awesome. It is really awesome. It's an amazing event. A lot of fun.
So great. How can people sign up for the event in general, and also how can they sponsor someone at the Center for Independence?
Okay, so if you want to, all of the information is on our website, so www.gciinc.org, so that's gciinc.org. So you can go on there and you can click on the link, and it'll give you all the information about, the fact that it starts at 9:30 in the morning with the 2K kicking off at 9:45. It'll also it'll give you a link for the registration, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can either do it through the Athlinks link, or you can do it with active.com as well. Or you can call our organization. If you don't want to go online, call our organization, 970-339-2444. We'll tell you how to do it. We'll take your registration, that kind of thing. And if you want to sponsor, same kind of deal. And our platinum level sponsors are at $1,000, and we have two currently. First National Bank, I want to give them a shout out. They're sponsoring at the $1,000 level, as is the Stammel Foundation, and the Stammel's a family foundation, and they have someone who we support. And so that's the reason they are involved. We're still working on sponsorships. Really appreciate you all for supporting us and getting the word out. And then if you wanted to sponsor a resident for $25, same thing. Call us, 970-339-2444, and we will take your money and we will give you the information. I also want to just say WeldWorks, which is a local company, and they do craft brews, and they're in downtown Greeley. They, since last year, have partnered with us, and so they're doing an after party. And so we finished the race. We head over to WeldWorks. They open up early on Saturday morning, and the first pour is free. So,
all right. Yeah. Well, free beer and running. That's a perfect Colorado event. That's great. And this is the 6th annual Walk, Run, Roll, correct?
That's right.
How have you seen it impacts the Greeley Center for Independence over the years?
Well, the most significant impact that I will say, obviously we raise some money, right? And that's always useful. We're a nonprofit. And even though the people we serve in the residential programs, we bill Medicaid for that, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get covered. So someone might need eyeglasses and not qualify for Medicaid vision or whatever. And so there are a lot of needs that must get met. And so the money covers those kinds of things. But apart from that, I really think it's so important for us to let the community know that we are here. We are here, and not only are we here, our residents are here. I love the idea that people get to meet these cool folks that we support, get to hang out with them, get to, participate in an event like this with them, and get to see people with disabilities as members of their community, as their neighbors, as their friends, as their, just people around their peers. And so that's, I think, the biggest thing for us.
Do you have any stories personally of residents that have really inspired you or that you've seen have a great journey?
Oh my God, every day, every day. So I'll tell you one quick one. We have one woman who she's wonderful. She's when I first met her 5.5 years ago, she was just very quiet, very soft spoken. I had to, very often would have to ask her to repeat herself when she said something because she was so quiet. And over time, we started implementing this thing where I said, as I told you earlier, we ask, what do you want? And we've formalized that by having these 2 meetings a year where we literally sit down just to do that. And they get to invite whoever they want to those meetings, and we focus on them and say, what do you want? And let's try and help with that. And this woman said 2 things to us. At her very first meeting, she said that she would like to go to church. Her nephew had been coming to take her to church, and then he had relocated, moved out of town, and so she was no longer going to church. And I was like, oh my God, and that's something we can do. And she knew what kind of church she wanted to go to and everything, so that's happening. And so she's going to church, and she has a church community and a church family that has nothing to do with us. That's hers. That's entirely hers, right? Yeah. And so that's very cool. And then the other thing she said to us at that first meeting was, I want to help. I want to be of use. I want to contribute in some way. And so we talked a little bit more about that and said, well, what would you like to do? And she said, well, I like kids, but I don't think I want to volunteer with kids. But maybe a senior center where I can go and maybe read to people. There are people who feel like they don't have a lot of folks who come visit with them. I'd like to do that. So she is one of the most consistent volunteers at one of the assisted livings in town.
Wow.
She goes twice a week. She hangs out. And as a result of that volunteer opportunity, what's happened is she's made friends. And so then she'll invite people to come have lunch with her. And just, so it's just amazing what happens. And now when you talk to her, there is absolutely no reason to ask her to repeat herself. She is loud and proud.
That is so great to hear.
Yeah, it's awesome.
How can people seek help with the Center for Independence if they feel like they need it?
Well, again, call us or go on our website and look at the information that we have. So, in addition to this, the home health services and the housing, we are a licensed home health agency, and so we do long-term home health services for people, so medical, non-medical, the whole gamut. If you need a nurse, if you need help with your meds, if you need diabetes management, all of those things. Just a phone call. Give us a call. We will connect you to the right folks within our agency. And if we're not the ones for you, we do this a lot. We also help you find where you really need to go, because the other people will call, people who have Parkinson's, and we're really not the expert on that, but we can connect them with the Parkinson's support group. We can do, so we certainly try to help anyone who calls or walks through our doors.
That's really a great mission.
Yeah, it is.
How can people volunteer for the center?
Again, that's, call us and we will get you hooked up. We've had one thing I will say about our volunteer opportunities. We tend to partner with groups. So like one of the Rotary clubs decided that they wanted to come and help us out. And so they did this whole cleanup effort, and did some landscaping and things. We had a group from out of town, actually. It's they bring folks from different churches, and they brought this group of kids, and they came and they painted for us. They did an amazing job. The other thing that I will say is, if anyone out there, and I know this is a harder ask because most people don't know how to wrap their brains around this, but if you want to get to know some of the people we serve, talk to us. We will find a way for that to happen. I mean, we've just had some amazing relationships develop as a result of people coming and hanging out and that kind of thing. And so that's a possibility too.
Yeah, you can just come in and get to know everyone?
Yeah, you can come in, and we won't just let you loose, obviously, because there are things we have to do to make sure that our folks are safe and all of that. But we do encourage people to come and get to know the folks we serve, and and if they have to like you for you to come back, but
makes sense.
But yeah. The other thing that I'm always looking for, and this might be something that some of your listeners out there might resonate to, If you have a particular skill, like if you're an artist or someone who just likes doing crafts, or if you have a collection of photographs or a collection of books that you like to share with folks, that kind of thing. If you want to come do a little presentation for our residents, then get in touch. And we're always looking for folks to come in and share their gifts with the people we serve.
That is awesome. Well, you heard that, listeners. And if you want to help by doing that or by signing up for the Walk, Run, Roll, you can do that on their website. And
yes.
What is that again?
www.gciinc.org.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Sarita. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Emily. Appreciate it so much.